Hey guys, I hope you're all doing well and staying very safe. Today, I'm going to tell a story that I like to call The Guide's Revenge. So this story happened back in 2012. So I was probably only just 12 years old. I was probably 11 years old, turning 12 years old, because this happened back in the summer of 2012. And I was a Boy Scout at that time, and I was going through the actual Boy Scouts. Troop 309 I was. And this was my very first year of being in it. I think it was my very first month of being in it. Like, this was the first thing I did with them. And they decided to go whitewater rafting. So I'm like, okay, cool, this sounds awesome to go. So, and the place they picked to go was in North Carolina. It was on the border between Tennessee and North Carolina, which is about 4 or 5 hours away. And as Boy Scouts, they want to do this adventure, just there's no badge for it. They just like, okay, let's go for it, for shits and grins, basically. So, and I don't know why they did this. I never understood why they did this, but they made the appointment for us to go whitewater rafting at 8 o'clock in the morning. So that means we had to do a 5-hour drive either the day before to get there and spend the night, or wake up at ass o'clock in the morning like I did. 11 years old, waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning to drive 5 hours to go whitewater rafting. That's a good idea, right? So that's what we did. And after waking up, I think it was like 3 o'clock in the morning, barely knowing what's going on, just trudging through everything, falling asleep in the car right there, we finally made it. And this is where I started to meet some of the actual other boys in the troop, because I've never met them before. This was my first adventure with them, and what adventure to be at that. And so I started to talk to them. I started to learn their names, learn who they are, started to make friends with them, and it was time for us to get in the rafts. The rafts could only hold about, I think it was 5 or 6 or 7 people, including the guide, at a time. So I had both of my parents and me, and then one of the friends I knew, and 2 other random guys from the troop. And then we had our guide, of course. And so we hopped in and we started going on this whitewater rafting. And if you don't know what whitewater rafting it's basically you get in this a raft, like a emergency raft, like one of those round things, and you have a paddle and you go on whitewater rapids, which is just really fast moving wavy water down a river. It is incredibly fun, and I recommend doing it. It is an afternoon to behold. It is so much fun. So I've never done that before until that time. And so I was freaking out. It was chaos. I barely had my paddle in the water. I'm still here getting thrown about like it's nothing. And every time I tried to paddle, I'd always miss the water and always end up splashing the people behind me. And so it would miss the next 2 people behind me, but it would always hit the guide. Every time. Every time I would paddle, I would splash water back and hit the guide. It was a wave of water too, enough that he'd have to keep wiping his face off because I kept hitting him with so much water. And it just kept going like that. It kept on and it kept on and it kept on. And we were riding for about probably an hour and a half. So this poor guide, he is the nicest guy. He is so much fun. He's a nice dude. He kept getting drowned for an hour and a half by me. Of course, I'm oblivious to this. I don't know I'm doing this to the poor man. And I don't know this until we get to the end of our line. When we got to the end, after the waters calmed down and we were at the pickup spot, there was a whole bunch of rafts waiting to be taken back up. And so we had to basically wait in a line and wait in a queue. So we're just sitting there. We're sitting there waiting. And this is when my mom goes, hey, that jerk's been splashing the entire time, talking about me. You should so totally get payback for it. And the guide goes, yeah, that's a great idea. I think I'll do that. And so all I feel is just the raft start to tip like this. I'm like, what is he doing? And then the next thing I knew, I had hands grabbed from the back of my life vest, pulling me into the water. He grabs me. So what he does, he stands up, he runs along the side of this raft, jumps, grabs me by the back of the life vest, and dunks me into the water with him. And I don't expect this, so I'm like, what the hell is going on? Why am I falling into this water? My first thought was, oh my god, there's a water monster coming to grab me. I'm gonna die here. And so he gets his revenge, and he looks up, everyone's laughing. Everyone. They are almost fixing the water. They're just dying. They're dying laughing. And I'm here freaking out, what the hell was that? What tried to kill me? And the guide, he starts laughing. He's like, sorry, dude, I just had to get my revenge. I'm like, revenge for what? What did I do to you? And that's when I'm told that I drowned this poor man for an hour and a half of rafting. I felt so bad, but at the same time, I didn't, because he almost drowned me in revenge. So I guess it was a win-win for each of us, because I got my payback before he could get his payback. That's all it was. But at the end, it was such a great time, and I look on that with such a fond memory. It was so much fun. Thank you guys so much for listening.